Good afternoon. This is Wilhelmina Ford here, based in Australia. I am a seller's marketing consultant of different sellers produce gold and diamond in West Africa. This video addressed to all buyers and sellers. My dear seller, today we are now approaching 2015. I know that you have a precious mineral that produce into your land. In the past, we have a lot of issues in regards with the shrink of your products. Now, your product is a raw material. It's coming from your land, and you don't have any idea what is inside of your gold bar. Now, in the past few days, I had a buyer that he purchased gold in Ghana, and every seller's gold are different quality and different purity and the carats. Now, I learned from that based on the analysis on the ASA report. Now, if you are a seller today, I address this video to all of my sellers or future sellers that I did not handle, so that you will learn out of this video that I explain. Now, when you sell your gold to any international buyer, you need to initial assay and smelt it. Do not rely on assay only, because your gold has a restricted chemical component like magnesium, lead, silver that's very, very strong that you cannot see in your own two eyes. Your local refinery cannot even pick up a lot of chemical component. So my advice today to all of the sellers that I have not deal with this video, you will learn from it, because we have a bad experience in a few weeks ago. Now, you can see on my Facebook that different refinery, different sellers, different gold. Now, I'm going to explain first on gold, that particularly in Ghana. Ghana is a very popular destination because it's a British colony. People speak English. Now, buyer think that sellers are a scammer. Seller is not a scammer, but seller have no idea what he is selling for. Now, recently we had an issue that one of my seller, his gold, the chemical component is huge chemical component like copper, zinc and iron, huge. So when you are selling, Mr. Seller, that your bar is 1,000 kilos, when it is final assay, the gold turn into 800 to 900 grams out of 1,000. So when I analyze the assay report, and I have no bad experience before, because I sold the gold in Dubai, the refinery, the assay of my other sellers, gold is perfect, and it met the criteria of the buyer. Now, when the gold was shipped to the United States, there was a discrepancy of the quality of the gold. Now, on my page, I put everything. So I advise my other seller that next time when you sell the product, you need to initial assay and smelt it. Now, when you smelt the gold, the chemical component has been removed, but not 100%. It will only remove on your final destination, because the buyer's refinery have their own sophisticated X-ray machine. In West Africa, they don't have X-ray machine. They just only smelt it manually. So the chemical component, they remove it, but not much. Now, we learn out of that. So I had a conference live with my seller, because I handle different seller. One of my seller, he understood now that yes, Wilhelmina, I agree on what you're saying based on the ASA report. So one of my seller that I had is a conference 2 nights ago, live conference. I said to my seller, from now on, when your gold is 1,000 kilograms, when the buyer come, when I bring the buyer to any of you guys, make sure that the buyer understand that the gold has to be initial assay and smelt at the same time. So the initial assay in different seller, different refinery, they cost $50, or smelting $100, but other refinery assay report is $30 and smelting is $80. So you need to smelt that before you pay. Okay? So now, when I analyze all the assay report, sellers start to understand. Now, we are now in 2015, we will rectify the mistake. Buyer says, oh, Wilhelmina, we were being scammed. No, you were not. You are the buyer, and the seller have no idea either. Even myself, I learn quicker. Because when I sell the product, I have to know the knowledge of the product. Now, I learn through the analysis, through the final assay. On my Facebook, there are different assay report from initial to final. So you as the buyer, it is now your advantage to view on my Facebook. No such broker are providing this information because they don't care about you guys. I do care because I am in customer service. But you cannot blame Wilhelmina. Oh, Wilhelmina, I was being scammed. I've done everything. It's up to you, the buyer, be attentive. Now, one of my seller understand what I'm explaining, and I train my seller. I should not train them because this is not my job, but I want to help both buyers and seller. Now, I already explained to here on the side of my seller. So when you assay the gold, Mr. Seller, and the buyer in front of the buyer, for example, the gold 1,000 kilos, 1,000 kilogram, it will shrink. So the seller will give extra gram in order to compensate on the final destination. So when the gold will be final assay, there would be no discrepancy because the seller will give extra. For example, 1 kilograms, the seller will give will provide 600 grams or 700 grams in order to cover the shortfall. Remember, the bar is 1,000 kilograms. So on the final assay, my seller agree that we will provide you guys as a buyer, we will provide you 600 grams or 700 grams, but our price is LMA because the price is in there. So we cannot give you for free all the time. So the price is on top of the gold. Now, our price is LMA. Okay, the world market price. Whatever the world market price, we give you a discount minimum 8 to maximum to 10%. So when you sell your products to your refinery, whatever, you get the profit. So everybody is win-win situation here, all right? My seller is paying my service. The buyer doesn't pay. So my service is not really very cheap because I train my seller, and also you, buyer, I explain it to you. Now, going back to the buyer. When you view on my Facebook, I represent different sellers. Now, listen very carefully on the video that I explain and read what all the procedure. The procedure that I have on my Facebook is more than FCO. Before you receive FCO, it's not really detailed, just only summarized. Today, I explain everything. The gold has to be assayed, the purity in the carats, what are necessary documents that you're gonna get after the assays, etc. Now, this is for the buyer. Buyer, when you see my Facebook online procedure, everything is in there, everything objectively, very informative. You send a letter of intent, attention to Wilhelmina. Then when I receive the letter of intent, I would review your letter of intent that you have to state in your company letterhead how many kilos you need for the first trial, where the gold to be shipped, what you are intent to use, what requirements you are looking for, because the gold is 22 carats untested, and the gold is 92 plus purity untested. So when the gold will be initial assay and is melted, then you will get the result of the carats and the purity. Now, you send me the letter of intent, I will review that, then I will study it, then I will know which seller that I'm going to put you the available stock. Because the seller have their own existing customer. I am handling the new customer, which is you. I sold gold already. That is why I put all the proof of the assay report so that you will understand that when the seller invites you, when the seller will send you the letter of invitation on arrival visa, you will know what you are buying. So after the assay letter of intent, then we will prepare the contract to send it to you as a buyer. On the contract, we already stated there that the quality and how many kilos and the payment. Now, you cannot buy without any down payment, isn't it? Now, if you're looking for a small trial, 3 kilos, 5 kilos, you pay cash. It is cash. Because you cannot just take the gold without any guarantee. The seller would not give you the gold credit. But however, Wilhelmina will try to help you in order for you to get the supply, because the seller is in control of his product. He is in control because that is his production. So my job is to be a negotiator of both parties. I am on the middle. I help the buyer, and I also make sure that the seller would not be disadvantaged. Both parties are win-win situation. Now, the contract will be sent to you after the letter of intent, because the letter of intent, attention to Wilhelmina first. Then I will review that. Then I will submit that to the seller, whom I know the availability of the stock. So after that, the seller, you will receive a full information of the seller, company letterhead, export license, business license, etc. And you, as the buyer, you need to provide me as well your business license, your importation license, and where the gold to be shipped. Because if you're looking for 50 kilos or 20 kilos, the gold has to be sent direct to your refinery to make it safer. Now, after that, you receive the contract. You have still right to amendment. You can review the contract. When you amend the contract, you initial the page or initial on the certain amendment. Okay, so after that, you return the contract, because you will see the passport copy of the seller and the business license, etc. Then you send it to me, because I'm going to review that, and then I will call you the amendment that you have, because I am going to say yes or no, because I have to advise my seller to consider it on your amendment. And then after that, then the seller will send you a letter of invitation to come over as his guest. Now, when you arrive, the seller will take you to the refinery to taste the gold. Now, I have one seller that have just deposited the 2 boxes to the refinery, but I will not mention the refinery name and the seller. So when you arrive, immediately the gold will be taken out from the refinery. He deposited to the refinery whom he trusts so much, and at the same time, the gold will be assay and then is melted. Now, may I advise you, because in the past I have so many problems. I was even also a victim. When you in front of this refinery, in front of the seller, you need to travel 2 of you. Okay, so that one can do the attentiveness and double checking. The example, this is a bar. Example, this is a gold bar. After the assay, you put the scotch tape here and initial it, and back here, and then you wrap it, right? Because you have to wrap it so that when the gold arrive in your destination, there would be no discrepancy. You never know, the gold might be tampered. So after putting the name here, your name, initial it, and both buyers and seller initial, then wrap it. Then when you wrap it, then initial it, both parties initial it. That is my advice, because I had already bad experience. So this is for your own benefit, not for me. No such broker will explain like this. So, for example, you get the 5 kilos, you pay the 5 kilos cash. Then, because of that money laundering and gold laundering in Ghana, Western Union is no longer accepting sending money, Western Union or MoneyGram. So what you have to do when you travel, when you're going to be invited, you bring some money in order to pay the initial down payment. Initial. Because you don't pay taxes, the seller pay the taxes. There is no more taxes. That's why you feel confused. And then the seller said, oh, this is my price, you pay taxes. No more. I told my seller, you wrap the taxes to your government. In every product, there is always value added tax. There is always, no matter any country. And also, there is also export tax. So the seller is responsible paying for that. So what I have explained to my seller is like this. The gold has been tasted. The buyer will make a down payment initial in order for the seller to pay some of his taxes. Because the seller is obligated to pay his own taxes, not you as the buyer. No buyer, it's not you. You pay the gold. So the seller will give you a certain 1 kilo or 2 kilos because you made a down payment, in order for you to not to be scared. That's what I always tell my seller, that when the buyer make a down payment, you give them 1 kilo, whatever his down payment. Let's say last night I had a conference with my seller that the buyer has to pay even 1 kilo. even 1 kilo, the price of the day. For example, today, our price, hang on, the price today on the world market, just a moment. I'm going to have a look on the world market today. Just an example. The world market price today of the gold is, okay, is 38,000. Just a moment. 38,457.58. Okay, so this is the world market price. Now I'm gonna give the price is 38,000 today. This is today, 38,457.58. This is already refined. Okay, this is the 38,457.58 refined. Now the gold of my seller is not yet refined, so therefore the seller will give you a discount. Now we give you 9%. So on the 9% times 9%, you already had a profit of 3,461 per kilo. Okay, your profit. So 3,461.18 per kilo on 9% today. This is only an example. We don't know the price on 2015. All right. Okay, then our selling price out of the discount, our selling price is 34,996. So what I have done to my seller last night, that when I have advised my seller, we remove the 996, we sell to you 34,000. So you have a good profit, good profit. Today our selling price is 34. Now, as you are a buyer, but however, if you are dealing with broker to broker, of course you have to pay the broker of yours, because it's a buyer's mandate. It is you as the buyer. It is your responsibility to pay the commission of your agent. But today we are not in global communication. You can find Wilhelmina. You don't need to pay the commission to your own agent. You buy direct to us, buy through Wilhelmina, because I am the one who handled the sale on behalf of my seller. We sell you 34,000. Today is December 26, 2014. That's only an example, right? Do not bank on my explanation. Just only I giving you the example. So 2015 we don't know, because the gold is volatile. Sometimes goes up and down. So that is how we give you the discount. So when you sell it, then you get the profit. So that is a trial. But when you come back to us on the second shipment, we will be considerable, because we want a long term. But on the first initial shipment, you need to convince us that you are also a true buyer. Make sure you have a capital. You cannot just leverage. It is very dangerous to leverage the gold, because the seller doesn't trust you, and you don't trust the seller. So I am advising you via this video explanation on YouTube, so that you will understand on 2015 there would be no mistake. I encounter a lot of mistakes, and people blaming that, oh, your seller is a scammer. No. The gold has a chemical component, and your eyes is bigger than $1 as well. You think you get the profit. 2015, let us focus, let us analyze what is gold is all about. I done my research. I went to the Gold World Council website. I do understand that the gold will shrink. But you as a gold trader, you have no idea. You just rush. Oh, I will buy gold to get the platform and I get the profit. Now, Wilhelmina is giving you a guidelines. You need to be thankful that you meet Wilhelmina on video conference. And this is very advantageous for you, because no one is giving you this kind of advice. Now, I want you to take time to listen to what I have done, explain to you, and also read on my Facebook, because everything is in there. All your question and answer is in there. Now, going back to diamond. The diamond, I have different sellers. The diamond, again, exactly the same as gold. You review the manifest. There's a price there, and then after the review the manifest, you send me a letter of intent on how many carats are you going to secure. Then I will review that. I will send it to my seller. We will return. You will receive my seller's full information. You need to make sure that on your letter of intent on diamond, you have to state who is coming. You need to bring your own gemologist, okay? And you need, if you are a really professional buyer, bring your own taster and diamond, so that at the same time you can double check the diamond, the clarity and the purity of the diamond. Now after the viewing, because you will be invited, the diamond would not be handed over to Brinks. Now may I explain to you why you people, you always say, oh, bring the diamond to Brinks. No, Brinks is just a shipper. When you buy the product to me, you have to come to see me to my office. This is only an example, huh? I am the seller. I invite you. We welcome you to the country where the diamond is deposited. Then we will meet. Then we will schedule to have the inspection inside the bank, so with your gemologist. So before the seller will allow you to enter into the bank, the seller will scrutinize who you are. You might be a hold-upper, you might be a criminal, or you might have a sabotage, because this is a big institution. The bank is very careful who is going to view, because the seller will reserve the private viewing or in the security company. Now, after the viewing, make sure before you travel, you convince us that you have a proof of fund, a letter from your bank that you have the capacity to pay. Okay, so now we exchange the contract and everything. Then you will travel to Ghana, because the gold is deposited security company and the bank as well. There are 4 different sellers that I have. So I know which seller I'm going to put you based on your letter of intent. After the inspection, then that is the time you make a down payment, bank to bank transfer. Okay, you cannot just have a money send Western Union. We have a problem few days ago. Okay, we have a problem few days ago that my buyer transferred the fund and it was being declined by the Western Union and even MoneyGram. So therefore, this is now an experience that I have to share. So when you travel to any part of Africa, bring money to make a commitment, a down payment, because the seller will secure the Kimberley certificate. After you inspect the diamond, you make a down payment. It's not an upfront. It is your commitment, because your deposit, your commitment will, the seller will pay his government taxes and he will secure the Kimberley certificate in your name. Now, after all the documentation has been done, that is the time you transfer the balance of your deposit. The seller asks you 40%. You make a deposit maybe 20 or 30%, or maybe 20,000 or 50,000 deposit, because the seller has to pay all the necessary documentation out of your deposit. So now, after that, somebody's calling me. There's so many people calling me already because they want to secure the supply, but I keep on ignoring them. Going back to my explanation, so you need to send me your passport because we will invite you. After the money transfer, because it would be cleared 3 or 4 working days, then that is the time the seller will hand over all the documentation to Brinks, because Brink is your shipper, and the Brinks, and you have the account to Brinks. Now make sure that both buyers and seller has to insure the diamond, because you have no idea when the diamond arrive into the destination, there will be a hijacking. So I learned it last year when I was in Dubai. I saw the international news. There was a big hijack on diamond from Africa in the hand of Brinks. So I learned that, and I informed my seller about the international big news 2013 last year. So every day is a learning curve. I learn very fast. I am a person that I easily get a lesson. I read the current event so that I could share it to my seller, so that I could share it to my buyer as well, so that when you meet my seller on the ground, there would be no hassle anymore. So I hope you understand what I'm saying now, and Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year. Let us start on 2015. Come with me in Ghana, secure the supply, and join the team. You don't need to be scared, and you will be invited. And I refuse now to deal with buyers on the ground, because in Ghana there are more than 14 refineries. Now these refineries are also a buyer. They have their own customer. Bank are their customer. So you are the trader who travel a million miles away because you have your own customer as well. So the seller have a particular refinery to deal with. Italtic is good. I know Mr. Kwame. You can talk to Mr. Kwame. Italtic in Ghana. ER Logistic. You can talk to Joseph. He is the director. And WRL. And Geological is a government laboratory. Bar Purity is a private entity. So every refinery, they are also rendering a service. You will use the refinery to test and smelt the gold of the seller. Now, what we're gonna say? Oh well, Amina, I want you, your buyer seller, to bring the gold to PMMC or AA Mineral. I wouldn't deal with you guys, because if you are on the ground, how come you cannot find gold? You are already on the ground. You don't need me. The only thing that I do entertain is the real buyer will be invited. If you are on the ground and you're scared to meet the seller in his office, therefore you are not a buyer, you are a broker. So you have to be honest, because I'm already sick and tired dealing with so many chain of brokers. They are the one who ruin the industry. Now I am here to help both buyers and sellers to rectify the issue in the past. Now in 2015, as I've said, this video is a learning process to both parties, buyers and seller. So I am here explaining because we had an issue a few weeks ago. So we will rectify. Going back to the gold, when you buy 5 kilos cash, the seller will give you 1 bar extra. So that when you assay that on your final assay, final refinery, the shortfall has been covered. Instead of giving 700 grams, I said to my seller, give them extra 1 bar. So that in case there is any shortfall, then we are safe. And you as the buyer, when you final assay the gold, I want a copy for that, so that a copy of the analysis, so that we can review when you come back to a second shipment. Then we will reduce the bar that we are going to give you extra. For example, the gold has been assayed perfect, then we will not give you extra gold anymore. Only on the first trial, because we wanted to know how much the shrink of the bar when the gold will be on the X-ray machine of the refinery of the buyer. Okay, every refinery have a different machinery. Dubai, their refinery are sophisticated. In United States, they have the X-ray machine. They are also sophisticated. So I learned from it. So I'm sharing this video to you guys, so that on 2015 you will not be misunderstood. You will no longer frustrated, because I explain, summarize, detail by detail. Plus, you go on my Facebook, take time to read, you scroll down, read on picture. You can see Wilhelmina that I was in Ghana. Take time, because this is not a rush business. This is a very lucrative business. Gold is a very tricky business. You will lose money if you're not paying attention. I lost money as well. I lost my service. My seller have not paid me, because if the buyer is not happy, how could my seller pay? That is why I am giving you guys, both buyers and seller, a thorough explanation, because my seller is ignorance. My seller have no idea. Okay, we have a license to mine, because they own the land. They have an export license, but they don't know what is inside of his product. He doesn't know. So I just learn it, because we have an issue. So the issue can be rectified, and I do the research. I went online. What is gold is all about? The gold has a chemical restricted component. So I advise my seller that this is how the gold will be assayed on final assay. The gold will reduce to 900 grams instead of 1000 gram. The reduce of the purity to 800, 900. So this, you're gonna say, oh well, I mean, I was being scammed. No, you were not being. The gold reduce it. The gold is full of copper. The gold is full of magnesium. Then the seller will replace it. Now I had an issue right now that the seller will replace the gold. So now I'm sharing you guys here that next time, my seller last night, he did agree. Now the assay report of 5 kilos, an example, smelt and assay, would be uploaded tomorrow. because I requested my seller that bring the 5 kilos to the refinery, assay it, smelt it, then I can put that on my Facebook so that everybody can see it. Then when you come, you already know the product of my seller. Then the seller will give still extra gram, because I told my seller last night that even then that you smelt an assay, that when the gold arrive on buyer's destination, when the gold put on the x-ray, it will shrink. So he agreed to give extra 1 bar on 5 kilos, 1 bar. So you pay the 5 kilos cash, bank to bank. All right. So you come, if you are still not understanding of my explanation, a very simple explanation like an elementary grade, you come on conference on Skype, you meet Wallamina, you ask many questions. But if you are very attentive, all the question and answer is on my Facebook. Everything is in there. So I easily get irritated if you are not paying attention, because nobody taught me, and the seller just have no idea. I have to educate my seller. I am an educator at the same time. Okay, I'm giving you my experience. I've been in marketing for 27 years, more than 27 years. Selling and buying, you need to know the product knowledge. I, I'm a person that I have to learn so that I could advise the buyer, so that the buyer will come back to Wilhelmina, then you're satisfied with my service. When you're satisfied with my service, you come back, you need more supply. Exactly the same on buying and diamond and gold. I hope you, international buyer, today you understand it. Do not be in business if you have a less capital, because you're going to be a shortfall. Because you travel, you pay hotel accommodation, you pay, there's a lot of expenses. On the first trial, you wouldn't get the profit, but on the second, because it's a long term, we would be flexible. And my seller is very hard man to deal with. And I'm the one who advised the seller to be flexible. So you come to Wilhelmina, I will help you to get the good deal, because we are looking for a long-term business, and also we are looking for investors at the same time. I hope you understand, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you guys. Well, let's welcome, let's embrace on 2015. Thank you very much once again, and God bless us. Bye.